All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to cover what Terence Crawford's trainer Brian McIntyre had to say about Errol Spence Jr. and gave him real advice on what he can do in order to beat Terence Crawford. And he just told the straight truth, man. I got to tip my hat to him. I think he's 100% correct. And I'm going to share with you what he said, but also Errol Spence Jr. very briefly, it appears, dropped a major hint about what is coming next. So we're going to talk about both of those things in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to give you an update and have a conversation about some things that have been said over the last week. One from Terence Crawford's camp, the other from Errol Spence Jr. himself, very, very briefly. At least it appears that way on Twitter. And Brian McIntyre, who is the trainer of Terence Crawford, trainer of Keyshawn Davis, one of the best trainers in boxing, just gave some hard, cold truth up to Errol Spence Jr. in a response to a question. Before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, hey, thanks for chopping up with me and talking boxing with me. I really appreciate it, man. If you're a longtime subscriber and you've been around the channel a lot, hey, man, welcome back. And I hope you're doing well. I hope your day is going well. But let's get into this. And again, thank you to everybody that supports in the super thanks. And thank you to everybody. D. Murray, thank you, sir. Appreciate you so much, man. I saw you the other day in the super thanks. So super thank you. And shout out to Matty Yole, who's a regular supporter of the channel, everybody else out there. But let's get into this, man, because we got this fight coming up. And I have a suspicion that this fight between Errol and Terence Crawford is going to take place in April. And the reason why I believe it's going to take place in April is that I caught wind of a tweet that was put up but subsequently pulled down by Errol Spence Jr., which said April. Now, if you're familiar with Errol Spence Jr. and what Errol Spence Jr. is, like one of his key things about that young man is that he's very straightforward. He's very, very honest. And he's definitely, well, let me say, I said he's straightforward, but on tweets, you know, he'll be cryptic, but he'll give you what's going on. So they're more than likely looking at the April timeframe in order to have that fight. That would have been, what is that? April is the 4th month. So we're looking, you know, somewhere around 9 month, had been a 9-month layoff for him after his loss to Terence Crawford. So it looks like that thing is going to be in place, and that the fight is going to be at 154 pounds. So that's good news because, you know, at that point in time, man, we get to see another good fight, man. No matter, you know, who you want to win, whether you think the fight's going to be competitive because of how the first one went, hey, man, I'm looking forward to it. But Brian McIntyre was asked in a recent interview about what Errol Spence Jr. actually needed to do to change the outcome of the fight. And man, he gave an honest answer, man. I was expecting him to say something like, man, ain't nothing he can do. It just ain't gonna make any difference at all. And just kind of do what he usually does, which is kind of be, a little bit over the top, man. However, man, he answered the question like a true professional. Like, I know he is a true professional. Clearly, he's a true professional. And he said, look, man, he needs to work on the mistakes that he makes. He needs to go back to square one, go look at the things that he did, and he just needs to switch that he did to be successful. He just needs to switch his style up a little bit because, Terence Crawford knows exactly everything that he's going to do. And if somebody knows everything that you're going to do, hey, man, that's going to be a tough way to win a fight like that. That was pretty much what he said. Now, the reason that I find that very interesting is because, number one, I agree with it. And he didn't take the stance that it's absolutely impossible for Errol Spence Jr. to ever do anything. He didn't, ever do anything to be able to make an improvement at all. I did a video some months before now. I said it and I was like, look, man, and an expert pretty much said the same thing. He's like, Errol can do much better in that fight. He just needs to fight differently. Basically, he just can't be somebody that is extremely predictable for somebody that is prepared for everything that he's going to do and just try to muscle through. He's going to have to use boxing skills and he's going to have to come at Terence Crawford in a way that he doesn't expect, similar to the way he came at Mikey Garcia in a way that Mikey Garcia didn't expect. Mikey Garcia expected him just to try to come in there and bowl him over, and he was prepared for him. Same thing happened with Sean, and he wasn't prepared. Let me say that again. And Mikey Garcia was not prepared for Errol Spence Jr. just to sit back and jab him, right? And then when it was time, then Mikey Garcia wanted to press that Errol Spence got on the back foot and moved away. He's going to have to do and surprise Terence Crawford and give Terence Crawford different things to think about, and then have Terence Crawford walk into something and make a mistake, right? So I really appreciate what Brian McIntyre did, because it wasn't one of these things where, you ignore the truth in boxing. But that also, to me, tells me that, hey, man, these guys are very, very serious people, man, and they're going to be prepared for that. And they're not going to be walking into this situation like it's just a foregone conclusion. The other thing that it makes me think of is, again, it makes me think of Jaron Ennis, because if Terence Crawford winds up being in a situation where he can fight Jaron Ennis, you really are not going to be able to compare what he did with Terence, with Errol Spence, to what would happen with Jaron, because the book's not out on Jaron. And I've always said that is a major significant reason why fighters get beat later on in their careers, when the book is out on them. When you've seen somebody do well against them and they get into a predictable pattern, and everybody at a certain point in time and what they do get in predictable patterns, people can anticipate it. And when they can anticipate it, their timing gets better. They get faster because they know what you're going to do. But with Jaron Ennis, you really don't know what he's capable of and how he's going to respond in different circumstances, for the good, for the better, or for the worse. But look, man, my hat goes off to Brian McIntyre for what he said. Again, that was not just, he didn't just do it to say anything to be disrespectful or whatever. And he also basically got down right to the fundamentals. Man, you have to be able to switch your game up a little bit. You've got to switch your style up a little bit and go back to the things that made you successful in the beginning. So, man, I thought that was I really enjoyed that interview from him. And he's entered several other ones that he gave that I think he really spoke the truth on, or at least he gave an analysis that I really was like, man, okay, yeah, this guy really does know his stuff very, very, very well, which is obvious, should be obvious from the results of his career. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Talk to you later. Peace.